This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
My countrymen and my friends, I had hoped against hope that some miracle would prevent a devastating war and bring to an end the invasion.
This most serious threat World Wrestling Federation has ever known.
The long-term future of sports entertainment could change forever.
A succession of actual wars have shaken the entire world and have threatened to bring on the gigantic conflict, which is today, unhappily, a fact.
No force of nature and no act of God could stop this invasion from happening.
I have said not once but many times that I have seen war and that I hate war.
This is our last chance.
There's no going back. There is no tomorrow. They want to finish us off.
Feel this moment for the rest of your life.
This war is only half over, and it could damn well be lost.
We're laying it all on the line.
Nothing can stop the WCW and ECW.
Austin is going to lead us into invasion.
Lift up your heart. All will come right.
We will kick WCW and ECW's.
No WWF superstar is going to deny us from our destiny.
Dad, the sports entertainment.
I have seen war and I hate war.
Place to Be Nation, welcome back to another episode of Nation Invasion. I'm your host, James Gruenberg, and also the captain of the Place to Be Nation voyage here. Well, I wish I was captain. We all know who the real captain is. But tonight, we are on our way to Summerslam 2001 here, and I have with me a first-timer on the show here, and he's a very good friend of mine. He's the host of the Wrestling Chicken Salad Express, and he is a frequent member on the Highway to the Impact Zone. That is Mr. Ben Locke. Ben, how are you doing tonight?
Good evening, Gruney. I am doing great. How are you, sir?
I am doing well. So, Ben, since you're new to being a guest on this show, tell me, were you watching WWF at the time in 2001?
So, it's going to sound weird. So, in the summer of 2001, I was actually in Australia on a vacation. I was actually on a 3-month vacation away. So, this particular period of 2001, I'm not as familiar with as I was the later months and the earlier months. So the summer doesn't really hold that resonance for me, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, if you recall back in June, the WCW Invaders started coming in, and then they started bringing in ECW to form the alliance with WCW. And then at Invasion, Stone Cold turned on Team WWF to be the leader of the alliance. So, and then The Rock, he came back to Team WWF, so he's basically the captain of Team WWF as well.
So when I was away up till just after September 11th. So I remember the Unforgiven show, but I'm sort of this little period from like King of the Ring until then, I'm not as familiar with.
Oh yeah, it's a very interesting time period. Now, did you watch WCW at the end of the Nitro days?
We had WCW on a week's delay, but at that time it was getting bounced around and moved around a lot. So it ended up on like one of the random satellite channels over here. But it was sort of tucked away like Friday night at 11 o'clock. So. Not in the very late days. I think I want to say we had it up till about August, September time. That sounds about right.
Oh, 2000, huh?
Yes, yeah. So the very last days, no, I was like the last 6 months or so. It was more of a passing. If I could find, if I was up at that particular time, it was literally a case of trying to find it on the schedule.
Yeah, So, as I said, we're heading into SummerSlam 2001. Stone Cold Steve Austin has accepted Kurt Angle's challenge for the WWF title at SummerSlam. Booker T did throw out a challenge to The Rock, and he puts the WCW title on the line. We're still waiting for The Rock's answer. DDP still is stalking Sarah for the most part, and having the summer of his life basically right now is Rob Van Dam. So we'll see how those storylines fan out here tonight as well.
Excellent. Yeah, I mean, like you say, I mean, going back, like the RVD in particular was the one that really opened my eyes, but we'll get into that.
Yep. So let's dive into these shows here. We are live from Anaheim, California tonight. This is Raw, August 6th, 2001. Recap of Booker T challenging The Rock to SummerSlam. And then we get right into the action here tonight, as it is Kane versus Rob Van Dam. Kane knocks RVD to the outside. Big boots RVD. Spinning heel kick to Kane to the outside. Kane military presses RVD into the ring. RVD kicks a chair into Kane's face. Flying clothesline by Kane. But then DDP hits Kane with a chair, and then RVD has a 5-star frog splash, and he gets the win, so he retains the Hardcore Championship. For this matchup, Ben, I want a 1.5 stars. Here's why. I don't like that I don't like that RVD needs help pinning people. I feel that it makes him look bad. But again, they're trying to continue this DDP versus Undertaker storyline by having Kane get involved too. So I want a 1.5 stars. It could have been better, and RVD does not need help beating superstars. You know.
I'm going to disagree with you slightly there. I would have started 3/4. At this stage, you've got to remember RVD to this WWF audience is new, so any kind of win over a guy like Kane will do, because Kane was a huge. I mean, Kane at this stage, up till the Kane-a-Maniac promo in 2002. This is probably peak Kane this year. You had that Rumble performance, and then you rolled into this entire year. But I mean, I was so impressed with Rob Van Dam. I mean, you see him doing the same moves on Dynamite today. The spinning leg drop onto the barricade, and he's doing it here like he's doing it back then like it's nothing as well as what he's doing it today. But yeah, I understand why they did it, but I also totally get why why you felt he didn't need it.
Yeah, because RVD is like, he's standing toe to toe. He's basically on his own here. He's not like, he's supposed to be the heel, but he doesn't play dirty. He plays fair, and he doesn't need help, because like guys like Canyon, Hugh Morris, Mike Awesome, those guys are the ones who are going to get booed. So have one of them beat Kane and have DDP interfere.
That's fair, and plus we'll get into it a bit later on. But the whole DDP Stoker thing is utterly ridiculous. But we'll talk about that we'll talk about that when we get to the segment later.
Yep. We have a recap of Deborah hitting Stone Cold with a cookie sheet, because Stone Cold has said that her cookies are terrible. Not really a good thing to insult your wife's cooking, is it, Ben?
I would say probably not. I mean, I don't know whether it was me watching this with 2024 eyes, but knowing how Deborah and Austin's relationship ended up, I personally was like, I whizzed a couple of times at some of the comments that were made, both on the recap and in the segments coming up. But yeah, you don't go insulting your wife's cooking, Austin. That's like rule 101.
But Stone Cold and Deborah do arrive together, so everything seems to be all fine and well in the Austin camp over there. Booker T is at a movie audition in Los Angeles. The auditioner makes fun of him And then, we're going to see a lot of segments, but Booker T is trying to get a movie role here. Like, she goes, "Oh, are you the Booger Man?" He says, "No, I'm the Booker Man." So, Booker T is already having problems, and he just arrived on a Hollywood set, apparently.
These segments are tremendous. Like, I remember hearing about this, but I might well have seen it before. But I think this is the first time I watched them all in one big go together, and it's that difference between now you watch the product today and you know everything's scripted. And yes, some of the stuff's funny, but you know everything's scripted. But this felt like this. You knew this bit was obviously scripted, but the way Booker and the other people in the segments played it. It just felt like a normal conversation, whereas today it really doesn't.
No, but it's funny, and it's going to carry on throughout the night.
Oh, yes.
Stephanie McMahon comes to the ring. That was a shock. I didn't have that on my bingo card, but, she says that Kurt Angle's body will hit the floor at SummerSlam. Seth says The Rock will lose at SummerSlam as well. And then she says The Rock is afraid of the alliance and is afraid to fight Shane McMahon in a street fight. Steph brings up Shane's past in matches where he defeated, Vince at the street fight at WrestleMania 17. He defeated Big Show at Backlash. He's been in these kind of battles here. And Steph says that Shane is a gladiator. And then Chris Jericho comes to the ring. Jericho has some unflattering words for her. Says Steph always ends up on the bottom. Says SummerSlam is a quickie on a hot summer's night. And then Steph brings up that Triple H has beaten up Jericho in the past. Jericho says she has been with everyone, including the popcorn vendor in the 15th row, whose name is Louie, by the way. Jericho brings out two gorillas, or two men in gorilla costume. One brings out flowers and one has a box. Jericho then gets the item out of the box, and it is a pie, and he smashes a pie in Stephanie's face. Wow. Stephanie is a very good sport. She's had beer poured on her. She's taken the stink face, and now we are at the pie in the face, Ben.
So a few things about this segment, because it is utterly ridiculous and it accomplishes absolutely nothing. Let's be fair. Couple of things. One, has there ever been a worse musical misstep than putting Bodies with the song Bodies with Steph? Because when I think Bodies hit the floor in real hard metal, I think Stephanie McMahon. I don't know about you, Gruney.
No, yeah,
and like I say, Jericho, you can tell these two have fun with these segments, don't you? That's the one. That's the one positive I will give it. But bringing out the Planet of the Apes after just for a really tedious movie tie-in, no. And like I say, there's no real punchline at the end. There's nothing. Well, it genuinely just felt like a waste of 10 minutes.
Yeah, and their feud isn't even over yet, but it's going to continue as well. But they just need a segment. And like I said, this show didn't really have like a huge promo to kick off. So it was like, just put Stephanie in and we'll figure something out of her and Jericho for now.
Yeah, it did feel a bit like they were riffing, and this is one of those occasions where I know what I've just said about the Booker T segment, but this felt like one of those occasions where you feel they needed to be stricter on the time, be stricter with the script, and it's like there's no time for ad-lib in here, guys. Just if you're gonna do this, just go in and out, and maybe let's get the SummerSlam opponent for Jericho out here to attack him, but or even the Dudleys who are coming out, who are going to be his opponents later. But it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it was just one of those random but funny sketches to some people. The audience seemed to like it. They were cheering for Jericho the whole time.
Maybe it's me being a bitter weathered 40-odd-year-old. I might have found this funny 20-odd years ago. I don't know.
No, it's fine. Yeah. Lita is backstage, tells Deborah, says she is proud of her for standing up to Stone Cold, says it must be hard to be with a guy like Stone Cold. These words are a little cringeworthy if you knew what happened at the end, huh?
Well, I was like, yeah, you don't know the half of it, Lita.
Regal and Jerry are backstage. And then X-Pac of all people comes in and he wants competition. To Jerry says X-Pac sucks. X-Pac challenges to Jerry for the light heavy one. He puts the light heavyweight title on the line as well. I mean, X-Pac just had a match with Kidman. How can he say he's gotten like no competition at all? Kidman was your competition, you know?
So you can help me out a bit, because like I say, I wasn't around during this. X-Pac. So am I right in thinking he basically wins the title and then does nothing with it for ages until this week?
He had a couple of matches. Like he wins it from Jeff Hardy the night after King of the Ring. He had a couple of matches here and there. Kidman beats him at Invasion, but the titles weren't up for grabs. And then they had the unification match up between X-Pac and Kidman, where surprisingly X-Pac won. I thought they were going to give it to Kidman and have X-Pac go away for a little bit, because everyone wants X-Pac. Everyone has like X-Pac heat, and they're like, just go away. We don't want you anymore here now. You know, like rest and maybe bring you back.
What I will say though, and it's the same point with the RVD in the first match. They were listening to the fans. They knew the fans loved RVD. They hate X-Pac, and they weren't bothered about saying, "Oh, because he's with the WWF, you've got to cheer him." It's like, no, cheer who you want. It's the company, you know. But he can still be a dick. It's just, you know, he just happens to wrestle for the WWF.
Yeah, I mean, in his case, it doesn't matter. And again, in RVD's case, it doesn't matter if he's on the bad guy's side. They think RVD's cool. Well, we're gonna cheer for him. Just because you're on Team WWF doesn't mean we hate you. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. So now we have Jacqueline versus Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler in a handicap matchup. This stems from Jacqueline crying because Shad on Tough Enough got eliminated last week on the Tough Enough, as we continue on through Tough Enough as well here too. So she was upset about that, and Tori and Stacey are making fun of her. So here we go. Jackie punches both women, clothesline to clothesline as well. Clothesline to Tori. Tori kicks to Tori Wilson as well. Insecurity by Stacy. Double clothesline by Jackie. Ivory, of all people, who we haven't seen like for forever since the Right to Censor disbanded. She comes out, and it looks like she's going to help the WWF out with Jackie, but gives Jackie a DDT, and then Tori gets the win. I gave this matchup a star. It wasn't cringeworthy, but you can tell that Tori and Stacy are really green here.
You are very generous, my friend. I went a dud on it, but only because it's literally a minute long. It's like you made it. I think your description was longer than the actual match itself, and plus, you know, JR's going on about Ivory being in the WWF. It's like, well, like you say, she was dressed like Lilith from Cheers 3 or 4 months ago. Now she's here in like all black and hot pants and leather pants. It's like, obviously she's turning JR. Come on, get with the program.
Yeah, so the Alliance has a new member, and it is now Ivory. So hopefully she can help the Alliance women's division out, because they desperately need it.
Yeah, you know, you've got to think this is 14 years before women's revolution. So I don't think they're holding much hope out for these women's matches at this point.
No, you can't. DDP is in I call it the shrine room of Sarah.
I've got the same description. Just the shrine. I think I didn't put the shrine room, but yeah.
Yeah, the shrine room of Sarah. He wants his Sarah, and this is so cringeworthy.
It always blew my mind, this, and you'll probably know more about this than me. He's still married. He is still married to Kimberly at this point, isn't he? So it's like, and like you say, like even casual watchers who watch WCW Once in the Blue Moon will know he was married to this banging hot woman. He ain't gonna be interested in some rusty old biker chick.
That's what everybody said. Why would you give the guy with the hottest wife ever the stalker gimmick of somebody else's wife who is half the attraction?
Well, if Taker was with Michelle McCool at this point, or not at this point maybe, or somewhere around, you'd be like, yeah, okay, I could see that, but not this Sarah, no.
Then we have Terry. She's at WWF New York. Jim Ross asks her, how have things been going since Perry Saturn dumped Terry for a mop? And then Paul Heyman interrupts and just cuts this huge promo about how the mop was more sophisticated and more beautiful than Terry was. And then he basically kicks her out of WWF New York himself, even though he's 3,000 miles away. Basically, he's like, vamos, goodbye, you're done.
he made Terry a very sad panda that night.
Yes, he did. So then Deborah tells Stone Cold Lita was laughing at him, and then Deborah says Lita called Stone Cold trailer trash. Also says Lita said that Matt Hardy can beat Austin up as well. So Deborah is spreading some lies about about Lita just to get a rise out of Stone Cold.
Yeah.
If you haven't noticed, Ben, these Raw shows and SmackDown shows are basically all a lot of backstage segments and other segments.
People talk about, the Russo, the sort of Crash TV of 97, 98 for being cut match, promo. But these shows, give me 98 over some of these shows. You sit there trying to follow along, and it's like, before you get to digest one thing, it's like we're on to the next. It's like, give me a second. Let my brain sort of. I will say though, you got to give Austin and Deborah some credit. They brought gaslighting to the masses a good 20 years before it became a buzzword.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like dance puppets dance. Booker T meets the director. Booker does a terrible British accent.
I appreciated it.
Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah. I didn't know. I thought it was terrible. I was like, Jesus, this is bad. Then we go right back to Raw. Stephanie barges into Regal's office with the Dudley Boys. Regal schedules a tag match. Dudley Boys versus Jericho and a partner of Jericho's choosing. So Stephanie is trying to get the enforcers to beat up Jericho and take him out for humiliating her, and we'll see who his partner is.
Yeah, I love all these Regal. Didn't say earlier about anything with Regal and Tajiri, and I'm all over that. Regal is just great. This probably behind the AEW, the Blackpool Combat Club, the initial commentary. This is probably my favorite period of Regal on the mic, is this whole year coming up.
Oh, yeah. So now we have Tajiri versus X-Pac for the light heavyweight title. Hip tosses by both men. Spinning heel kick by X-Pac. Bronco Buster to Tajiri. Tarantula to X-Pac. Springboard to the outside by X-Pac. Green mist and a kick to X-Pac's face. So we have a new light heavyweight champion as Tajiri defeats X-Pac. For this matchup, I went 2 stars on it. It was good.
I'm a scoosh above you. I went 2.25, but I really liked it. It was a really fun little sprint of a match. Tajiri is so underrated. It's unreal, like what the guy can do. Just so fun in the ring. Some of the moves he hits, and the X-Pac heat. I get it, but Sean Waltman could, 2001 could still go.
Yeah, he has shown that he still can go. And keep in mind, he is still the WCW Cruiserweight champion as well. So he still has one title left.
Yeah, I will say I'm sort of ridiculed him a bit for the booking and stuff, but the fact that they mentioned on commentary the fact that Regal could only book the light heavyweight title, he can't do anything about the WC. I appreciated that bit of storytelling. Yeah,
let me ask you that. Do you think that Mike Sanders could have been the WCW commissioner?
They could have put somebody in there, but I think like I said in that previous segment, it's just knowing when too much is, and I don't think they do. They've got all these guys on tap. They're just too bloated. They just don't know when enough too much is too much, basically.
Yeah, I was just thought that like Mike Sanders would have been a good loudmouth piece to get his butt kicked by a bunch of WWF guys at the time, like when Chronic used to beat him up too.
I think if they went into the stage which they could have done of going with a WCW show, he definitely could have been in there. But they never got. They got after that main event. Was it in Atlanta? No, it was in Atlanta. The Blackwell Booker T match. Yep. They just got cold feet, and I can't blame them. But
no,
I'm not saying go back stripped down, but just take your time. You've got all these people. Just take your time. You don't have to force everything into one big segment.
Yeah, and I was also saying that it felt like the month of July for the majority part of the Alliance members was only their month to shine, and then everything basically goes back to WWF and Stone Cold. But we'll see what happens as the months progress here as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you say, the invasion pay-per-view happens, but then there's that many turns going on that how many WWF guys end up in the Alliance anyway?
Yep. So now we go backstage. Stone Cold yells at Lita. Matt tells Stone Cold to shut up. Stone Cold challenges Matt Hardy. And then Booker T is then rehearsing his lines, but is also giving out the stage directions. He says his lines and he goes, Booker, exit stage left. It's you're not supposed to say that part. You're just supposed to do it. So an actress comes in to rehearse the lines with Booker, and then the actor asks the actress asks if Booker T is related to Mr. T. So we're back to the old Mr. T segment that Christian asked if Booker T at the time was related to Mr. T as well.
I will admit the line of I brought your locket, sucker, popped me huge. I was to the point where I had to pause and just calm down again. But I need to put a request into WWE if they can just put these onto a YouTube clip for me, because they're only about a minute, 2 minutes long. So you only took about eight minutes for the whole clip. So, just do it. Just make me giggle. That's all I'm interested in.
Yeah, and then you have the boyfriend of Matt Hardy coming into play, and it's I'll challenge you, let's go. So Matt Hardy being a little bit of a daredevil hero to his girlfriend and challenging Stone Cold.
Well, you got to back your woman up, haven't you? Austin's doing the same, so why not?
Yep. So now we have the Dudley Boys versus Chris Jericho, and out comes Kurt Angle, so he will be the tag team partner of Jericho here tonight. All four men brawl, crossbody to Devon, spinning clothesline to Kurt, reverse neckbreaker to Kurt. Dudley Boys go to work on Kurt. German suplex to Bubba, springboard dropkick to Bubba, lion salt by Jericho to Devon. Rhyno comes in and he gores Jericho, but then Jericho kicks out. Devon misses a dive, belly to belly to both Dudleys. Devon counters the moonsault by getting the knees up. Jericho stops Devon. Bubba taps to an ankle lock, for the win. So Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho beat the Dudley Boys. For this matchup, I went 2 1/4. It felt like the whole all of what they were trying to build up Jericho got turned to Kurt Angle's build here. I kind of didn't like that because they were trying to really focus more on taking out Jericho, but Kurt Angle comes in, all the attention basically comes into Angle preparing for his matchup with Stone Cold at SummerSlam.
I get that. So I'm the same as you. I went 2 1/4 on it. I thought for a TV match, I thought it was perfectly fine. But what it felt to me a little like is not. I don't think it was quite a house match level event, but this felt like the kind of match these four could have. They are such good pros at this stage. This felt like the kind of match they could just have in their sleep. They were all on autopilot. You know exactly what you're getting from the Dudleys. You know exactly what you're getting from Jericho. And Angle is basically an ass kicking suplex machine at this point, and you knew exactly what you were going to get from him. And sometimes that ain't a bad thing, No,
it's a good thing.
If you'd have maybe, like I said earlier on, you take that Steph segment out and you give that 5-10 minutes to this match as well, then we're at the races, because you could quite easily have done a thing of, Jericho saying something about Steph and the Dudley backing her up, but he didn't. But that's probably what I would have done, what you would have done today. But these four are great together. They mesh well together, and like I say, you know exactly what you're going to get, and that ain't bad, guys. That ain't a bad thing.
No, it's not. So now we have Stone Cold backstage tells Lita Matt is going to get a beatdown, and now we have another matchup. It is Christian versus Lance Storm for the Intercontinental title here. Christian tells Lance his words inspired him, and then Christian asks Lance to be a part of a 5-second pose, and then Edge comes in and he pantses Lance Storm, and on Lance Storm's underwear it's got like Power Rangers. So Lance Storm gets pants by Edge, and then Edge gets kicked out here. So little fun dumb segment, huh?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the match was okay. Match was like I went 1.5 stars on the match, but yeah, I love Edge and Christian at this time period. The 5-second poses are a thing of beauty, and I am all for offbeat shenanigans. Just bring it on.
Oh yeah, you went 1.5. Yeah, I went 1.5 too. 1.5 as well. It was good. The chops to Storm, and then Lance throws Christian into the ring post, the cross body to Storm by Christian, then the clothesline, then the backdrop. But then but the end is so bad because it felt like it was botched, but it could have just been that Nick Patrick knew what he was doing. He sees that Lance is using the ropes. I'm just gonna count it anyway. 1, 2, 3, you win. And it's dude, you tell me you didn't really not see that. It was I know the ref's supposed to be playing blind, but even you can't argue that Nick Patrick, that was a botch.
Well, I think if it was a botch, I think the commentators covered it well by saying, he's a biased ref and he's going to ignore it anyway. But I think at this point, I'm guessing that the Edge match at SummerSlam had already been announced, so you knew there was no way Christian was going to win that match. But it's just too, go back to what we said in the last match. It's just two good pros who know exactly what they're doing, and even at this stage of Christian's young career, he knows what to do.
Yep. So now Kane meets Undertaker in the parking lot and tells him where DDP is. Undertaker tells Kane to send her to the APA locker room so she doesn't get hurt, which isn't a bad idea either because the APA will protect anybody.
Well, there's two things here. There's two problems. One, if you pardon my language, Gruney, who the fuck arrives for a show 90 minutes in? You know, that should be fine straight away, surely. And two, again, again, if you'll pardon my language, who the fuck tells you the plan all on TV so somebody else can hear it?
The Undertaker's not good at keeping secrets, apparently.
well, clearly not. It's like we just reveal everything. Why don't you?
Nope. Then The Rock is backstage with Kurt Angle. Rock wants to know why Angle doesn't like him. Rock wants to start with a clean slate. Kurt says he knows the secret to beating Shane McMahon in street fights tonight. He pulls out a glass of milk. He says, if you just drink this, you'll have no problem beating up Shane McMahon tonight. And The Rock drinks the milk. Rock tells Kurt to bring pie next time. And Kurt goes, oh, I know the best place for apple pie and chocolate pie. And The Rock's like, not that sort of pie, Kurt.
I thought this was great. I thought this was tremendous. And I'm sure watching this at home, as a young man, a young man with his daddy, he might be the grandson of a plumber, and thinking one day I could be like The Rock. But I've got a story to start writing.
Yeah. I mean, Cody's trying to write this story. The Rock's 5 years already in, so you better be ready, Cody.
It's a story with more chapters than War and Peace. It's going to keep coming, guys.
Stone Cold then tells Deborah that Lita called Deborah stupid and dumb, and that Lita was like, oh, it was a big misunderstanding. But Stone Cold turns around, it's like, she called you stupid and said you didn't know what you heard and you were dumb. So more drama, adding fuel to the fire. Taker finds DDP's shrine and starts tearing it apart. Now, Ben, let me ask you something. Who better than Kanyon to dress up in a DDP wig and get his butt kicked by The Undertaker, huh? Because that's exactly what happened.
I love me some Kanyon. So we've done a couple of the 99 episodes, 99 pay-per-views on Chicken Salad, and the one shining light we have are these tag matches with, and usually it's the Jersey Triad against whichever combination of Benoit, Raven, and Saturn and Milenko there is, and they're pretty much the one shining light we have. So when I saw him, I was like, here we go. Some good is going to enter my life at this point.
Yep. So Kanyon starts attacking Taker in a DDP wig, and then while Undertaker is trying to fight him off, DDP comes in and beats up the Undertaker with a lead pipe.
Yeah. It was like seeing some of these, seeing some of this TV screens, some of the other stuff. It was like, how 2001 is this? There's no flat screen TVs. There's no, you're watching things, DVD. You're not even watching things on DVD yet.
Oh no, they got VHSs still and VCRs.
Yeah.
Yep. So now we have Matt Hardy versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. Matt unloads on Austin to start off, but basically it's almost like it's a squash. Fireman's carry to Matt, right hand to Austin by Matt. Austin goes to work on Matt. Huge clothesline by Austin. Austin stumps a mud hole on Matt. Deborah pulls Lita off the apron. A stunner to Lita and a stunner to Matt Hardy. For this matchup, I went $1.25. Why? Because of the aggression that is Stone Cold, the paranoia of Stone Cold and the aggression. Stone Cold was vicious to Matt and Lita, and I enjoyed it. While everyone hated Stone Cold turning heel, this is just this is what I liked about Stone Cold, the viciousness of nobody is going to take away my WWE title. It's all mine.
So going back to something you were saying earlier about, people like the first match, wasn't it, where you said, why did RVD need this? why are they doing this to the guy who's the European champion and one half of your most popular tag team in the last 2-3 years? It absolutely blew my mind. I get why you want to show Austin to be a killer. I get all that, but there's got to be somebody else on the roster you could do this to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like the match itself. I mean, and he doesn't just treat Hardy like shit. He obviously, Lita's just like he treats Lita like a piece of crap as well, basically. And the match itself is fine. It's a fine match, but it's just a squash match on TV. But they didn't need to do this to Hardy at all.
No, I don't know why they did it. I think I even think Jeff Hardy would have been a better idea here.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's that thing of, Matt's obviously a singles champion at the moment, but
yeah,
I wouldn't do it to either Hardy because, like I say, that they're the most popular tag team in the last 2-3 years. If you're gonna have the match, structure the match differently. Just give him just a bit of token offense. Just not this.
Yeah, I know. It was just like a total squash. I want to star in the quarters. It was what it was, like I said.
Oh yeah. I mean, I've got a star and a half on it, but yeah, it could have been so much better.
Booker T is now rehearsing his lines again. He screws up again, and he is like, I don't need this anymore. I'm done with this. And he's like, I'm leaving the stage. This isn't right. Like, they're even telling them this is not the right part for you. He's like, what? I'm the WCW champion, and I'm going to SummerSlam. The actress asks, oh, you're a wrestler? Do you know The Rock? And then asks if, like, he's The Rock's butler because he goes, oh, well, I'm going to SummerSlam. And she's like, oh, why? Are you like The Rock's limo driver? Like his chauffeur? Are you like his butler? And then Booker T punches the director in the face.
This kind of reminds me of those the poor lads who play for the Kansas City Chiefs. It's like, oh, Travis Kelce, does that mean Taylor? No, I won 3 Super Bowls, damn it.
Oh yeah, that was a great game too. Actually,
it was a really good game. It was like 3/4 of a chess match, and then it just went batshit crazy for the last quarter. I was like, yeah,
Yep. So now we have Shane McMahon versus The Rock in the main event. Shane says The Rock is going down. Shane says that he is a gladiator. The Rock says Shane might have been born with a silver spoon in his mouth, but tonight he is going home with The Rock's boot up his candy ass, which is a really great line, I thought. So now, like I said, we have Shane versus The Rock in a street fight. Shane points the kendo stick at The Rock, tells him to bring it. Clothesline to Shane. Shane throws Rock into the steps. Rock throws Shane into the crowd. Rock and Shane are laying shots into each other. Rock knocks Shane down the stairs. Shane clotheslines Rock. Rock diving clothesline by Shane. Shane hits Rock with a trash can. Trash can shots to The Rock. Rock kicks the can into the back of Shane, to the back at Shane. Rock hits a chair into the trash can. Shane pulls down The Rock and double lid shot to Shane's head. Low blow by Shane. Kendo stick shots to The Rock. Rock jumps up, spinebuster, and then Booker T hits a DDT onto The Rock, but then The Rock gets up again and hits a rock bottom to Shane for the win. For this matchup, I went 2 stars.
See, I liked it a little bit more than you. I gave it the gentleman's 3.
Okay.
But it was one of those, and they kept mentioning it throughout the night that The Rock's been away for 4 months, so they're not going to get. I like the fact that they didn't give him like a quote unquote proper match to begin with. And I feel like I'm repeating myself, but again, you know what you're getting with Shane. You know exactly the kind of match it's going to be. It's going to be a bit batshit crazy. And yet you were waiting for that Booker T interference, but what we got before that was pretty good, I felt, considering, like I say, it was the guy's first match it was The Rock's first match for 3 months.
Mm-hmm. Yep. But now, as we're getting off the air here, Booker T hits a spinning heel kick to The Rock. Booker beats up The Rock. Booker hits Rock with the WCW title. And then Shane does a diving elbow off the top rope into the announcer's table with The Rock laying there. So Shane crashes into The Rock as we go off the air from Raw. So pretty good Raw here. We see the aggression of Stone Cold. We see The Rock beating Shane McMahon, but Shane McMahon getting the last laugh and word in. Stephanie McMahon gets humiliated by Jericho, and Kurt Angle is on a rampage to get to Stone Cold as well. So a lot is going on here.
Yeah, I mean, I know you guys have got Peacock, so you don't have chapters anymore, do you? On the Peacock, it's just on the network. You just go straight to the show, right? Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, we don't get to select what segment we want to just watch,
So the reason I mentioned that is because, like I said earlier on, I just thought there was way too many segments, way too much going on, and so because I'm that sad, Gruney, I went back and I was able to count how many chapters there were. Would you like to hazard a guess as to how many chapters there actually were for a 90-minute program?
27.
You keep going up. You're at 31.
Oh, wow.
Right, which sounds a lot straight away. You think that sounds a lot. So I'm watching the Triple H era of WWE. So I'm currently at the night after SummerSlam 2022. So for a comparison, for a show that was a 2-hour, 15-minute program that has 19 chapters or 6 an hour, let's go, 6 every hour. So there you go. It's like, this invasion story episode has 12 more things, 12 chapters more going on, and I'm like, and like you say, there were a lot of good bits in there, but there is so much of everything else that the good stuff you forget about because your brain can't process all that stuff going on at once.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, let's see what SmackDown brings us here as well as we head into SmackDown August 9th. We're live in Los Angeles at the Staples Center, so it's always going to be a good crowd when it's at the Staples Center here as well. Stone Cold hosts an alliance meeting, says he's proud of the alliance, says no one can stop the alliance. Stone Cold thanks Deborah. He says that Stone Cold took care of Lita for the alliance. Stone Cold tells the alliance to kick ass. While watching this segment, I noticed that Mark Jindrak was still used in the segments for the alliance, and he hasn't had a match, but he was supposed to be out with a torn MCL at this time, and I was like, wow, he's still here, huh?
I think there's a lot of guys like that. Like we were saying, once he got past that initial invasion preview, there was a lot of guys who would never be used. Like just Mike Olsen's just sat around doing nothing. He's just ready to watch.
Yeah, Tommy Dreamer, just incredible. It's like, give these guys something. Hugh Morris, too, but we'll see Hugh Morris tonight for a split second. So they're basically saying Stone Cold's trying to pump the alliance up to take out whoever they can in the WWF. And then we go right into our first matchup here. It is the APA versus DDP and Canyon for the WWF tag titles. Paige and Farouk start off, elbow to DDP. Farouk catches Canyon in midair, tag to Bradshaw, fallaway slam by Bradshaw, tag to DDP. A DDT to Paige, reverse neckbreaker to Farouk, spinebuster to Paige, clothesline to DDP. Test then comes in and he hits Farouk with a big boot, and then a clothesline to hell by Bradshaw. Test then hits Bradshaw with the WWF tag belt, and Canyon pins Bradshaw. For this matchup, I went 1.5 stars, but we have another turncoat as Test has now joined the alliance, Ben.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, I couldn't even have told you the APA were the tag champs at this point when they walked out. I was like, all right, okay, they're champs. And we also have Kanye with his US title belt, which, you know, the original US title belt, which was lovely to see. And if you're going to turn on anybody, if you're going to piss anybody off, Gruney, you ain't pissing the APA off, are you? You're not going to get that. Test is a very brave boy.
Yeah, because this all stems back from the Team WWF thinking that Test was the turncoat, and they beat him up, and they kicked him to the curb. So then Test was like, well, they're going to treat me badly. I'll do something to them. So why not cost the APA the tag belt, since they were the guys who believed you were the traitor when you really weren't.
Yeah, I mean, as for the match itself, I thought the match was okay. I went 1.5 on it as well. But knowing, I kind of knew what was going to happen at SummerSlam, so I was like, this is a foregone conclusion that the APA are long for this world.
Mm-hmm. Now we have Perry Saturn versus Raven, and actually Terry comes out with Raven, so I don't really call her a turncoat, like she's just there, but they don't really say that like, oh, she's a member of the Alliance, but we'll see what happens. She ends up staying with Raven for like the rest of the invasion period anyway. So we have Perry Saturn versus Raven, shoulder dive to the outside by Saturn, suplex to Raven, clothesline to Perry, slingshot to the mop, and a fisherman suplex for the win by Perry Saturn. For this matchup, I went 3/4 of a star. I'm sure it's worse than that, but I was being like gentleman. Like Raven gets no offense. And number 2, why wouldn't the ref DQ Perry Saturn for using the mop as a weapon? If you get fling into the mop, it's okay, but if you hit him with the mop, well, that's a disqualification.
Yeah, I went half a star. It's barely a match, but it's always good to see the moss-covered three-handled family Gradundle. I can't even say it right, but you know what I mean. I try. I can't do the doctors who say. Fisherman suplex sounds a lot better.
Yep. And then, so now we go right backstage. DDP, Canyon, and Test are celebrating their win. Regal says DDP and Canyon will face The Undertaker and Kane at SummerSlam in a cage match. And then we're backstage again with Regal and Tajiri. They're backstage with Spike and Molly. If you didn't know that Spike and Molly were still a couple at this time, neither did the rest of us, Ben.
I'm just going to backtrack. I loved the casual way Regal told DDP and Canyon about the match. He's like, oh yeah, by the way, that whole bit was great. And Gruney, you've I don't know if you're going to mention them all at the end, but you've failed to mention that Arnie and David Arquette are here. I mean, former WCW champion, for God's sake.
Oh, yes. I forgot that, too. Great point out. A lot of the celebrities are always in the house in L.A. on SmackDown. Arnold Schwarzenegger, who we've seen in the past take a shot at Triple H and land it. And then we have the former WCW champion, David Arquette. He should have been in the invasion if he had nothing going on in summer of 2001.
Exactly. They brought out all these other contracts. They could have got Arquette in.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking. So X-Pac comes in and cries foul over to Jerry beating him on Raw. X-Pac challenges Jerry and Regal to a match, but Spike says, no, I'll fight in Regal's place. So it's going to be tonight to Jerry and Spike versus Albert and X-Pac. Now we have a hardcore title match. Edge versus Rob Van Dam. Face plant to RVD by Edge. Crossbody dive by RVD. Somersault dive to Edge. Edge splits RVD on the guardrail. Ladder shot to RVD. Leg sweep and slingshot into the ladder by RVD. Hold on a second. Yep. Edge Edge bounces the ladder off RVD's face. Lance Storm pulls Edge out. A German suplex to RVD. Spinning heel kick to Storm. A drop kick by RVD. The spear to Lance Storm. Spinning heel kick to Edge, and a concerto by RVD and Storm for the win here. For this matchup, I went 2.25 stars. This was pretty much like an insane matchup. Again, Edge has to pull out the ladder. You know, it's like, what are you pulling out a ladder for?
I know what you're saying. I'm gonna show you though. I went 3 stars for this, and
okay.
I if it had gone any longer, I would have given it even more because this was just great. If it was, just these two guys who you know what they're going to be in the next few years, and they could both go. And the reason they got the ladder is because of the the hardcore rules. So the only thing you didn't get with the tables, did you? You got the ladder, you got the chairs, but you didn't get the. But no, I loved it for the short amount of time that was going on. Just genuinely hard hitting. They were hitting all the moves on each other, and I was all of this. Give me this.
Oh yeah. So now we have Stone Cold backstage with Deborah, Chuck Palumbo, and Sean O'Haire say they're gonna make a challenge to any tag team tonight in the WWF. So we'll see them in action later tonight against the mystery opponents. And now we have Spike and Tajiri versus X-Pac and Albert. X-Pac and Tajiri start off, kick to X-Pac's face, tag to Spike, Hurricanrana by Spike. Albert presses Spike to the outside, power slam to Spike. And then Albert tosses Spike, leg drop by X-Pac. Clothesline by Albert. Albert misses a scissors kick. Albert then splashes X-Pac, double drop kick to Albert. Molly slaps X-Pac. Albert catches Tajiri. X-Pac hits Tajiri with the bell. A Baldo bomb by Albert for the win here. For this matchup, Keith, I went 2 star. Ben, I'm sorry. I don't know why I called you Keith. I'm so sorry. I'm botching names now.
I've been called a lot worse. Don't worry about it.
Gosh, I'm botching names. I feel so bad. For this matchup, I went 2 stars, Ben.
Well, first of all, I was in a bad mood at the beginning of the match because obviously they've not got the rights to Uncle Cracker. I was fully expecting it. It was some generic rock and rubbish. I was like, what the hell's this? But yeah, I mean, but let's make this a proper light heavyweight cruiserweight match. We don't need Albert in there. Get Kidman or somebody else involved, and Albert's not great at this point, is he? And he was fine, he was serviceable, but the match is rightly focused on the other 3 competitors because they're obviously going to be, the cornerstones of that division going forward, or they should be anyway.
Yeah, and it's all WWE, it's 4 WWF guys, and Heyman points out we in the Alliance, we don't need to beat up WWF. We'll just let them do it themselves.
Yeah. Taz is like, well, it's just WWF versus WWF. It's all right. We'll just sit back and we'll just kick back in this match. That's fine.
Mm-hmm. Perry Saturn is looking for Moppy in Regal's office, and he's like, I haven't seen your bloody Moppy, so bug off. And then, O'Haire and Palumbo issue a challenge to any tag team, and Regal says, am I determined that the WCW tag team titles are going to be on the line? And they say, yes. So I was like, I got a tag team for you, so we'll figure out who that tag team is. Booker T and Shane come to the ring. Shane says there's nothing but Hollywood phonies here tonight. Shane is bragging. Even though Rock beat him, Shane is the one standing. Recap of Shane and Booker T destroying The Rock. Booker T calls The Rock a sucker, says The Rock is scared of Booker T. Booker is telling the fans what he will do to The Rock at SummerSlam. And then The Rock comes out. Rock comes out to, bunch of cheers. Rock then accepts Booker T's challenge for the match at SummerSlam. Rock asks Booker, what is a spinner Rooney? And then The Rock basically lays down what's going to happen to Booker. He's going to give him the sharpshooter, the people's elbow, and then the rock bottom. And then Booker T challenges Rock to a handicap match. Rock comes to the ring. Booker is beating on Rock along with Shane. Spinning kick to Rock. Rock gives Booker T a spine buster. Rock beats on Shane. Rock clotheslines Shane and gives him a rock bottom through the announcer's table. So a lot happening as we get to SummerSlam, Ben. The Rock has now finally challenged, has accepted Booker T's challenge for the WCW title. And Shane McMahon gets the rock bottom through the table as well, with Taz just standing there looking like a goof and just watching his boss get rock bottom through the table.
So if you remember when we were talking about the Raw bit, I was talking about Stephanie promo where it's just 10 minutes meandering nonsense and nothing actually gets resolved. This is like always the antithesis of that. It's like, yeah, Shane babbles for a little bit. He babbles for about 4 or 5 minutes, but this promo achieves everything it needs to achieve. The match gets set for SummerSlam with the rock bottom. They could well write Shane out. So now Booker is genuinely going to be 1-on-1 with the Great One. He hasn't got Shane to back him up. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this because, like I say, there was a definite point to where everybody hit every mark they were meant to hit. And yes, this is excellent. I really, really thought this segment was good.
And, Taz is going to have to do some explaining on why he didn't stop the Rock from giving Shane the rock bottom. So he's going to have to explain.
He's a commentator now. He doesn't need to get involved in that.
Yeah, but he's also a member of the Alliance, too. So we'll see what happens there.
What I will say, just because you mentioned him, I thought, considering he's only just started the commentary at this stage, you can tell, how good he's going to be. Taz, him and Cole have already got that chemistry together. Even if some of that in post production, that you can tell that there was a few nuggets of gold in there.
Yep. So Perry is backstage still looking for Moppy. I didn't know if I don't think this was the segment with the cops. I think that's the next segment.
That's the next one. That's the last one. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yep. Yeah. Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire come out, and they're getting ready for their tag team matchup. When all of a sudden, the Undertaker and Kane come out. So it'll be Chuck Palumbo and Sean O'Haire versus Undertaker and Kane for the WCW tag titles. Chuck and Kane start off. Both men go to work on each other. Clothesline to Kane by Chuck. Scoop slam to O'Haire. Clothesline and old school to O'Haire. Taker lands on his feet. O'Haire hits Taker with a chair. DDT to Chuck. Flying clothesline by Kane. A big boot to O'Haire. Double choke slam to Palumbo and O'Haire for the win. And we have new WCW tag champions. For this matchup, I went a star and 3/4. Ben, I really enjoyed the destruction of the WCW tag champions, and Kane and Undertaker looked vicious. Like they were like, let's go to work and let's win some gold as well.
I went just a star on it. I thought much like the Hardy Austin match, this was pretty much just a squash. But I really do like Palumbo and O'Haire. When I was watching those WCW shows, when I could watch them, they were a highlight of that later period. But yeah, once you saw what happened in the first match, you kind of knew what was going to happen here, and this was fine, and again did exactly what it needed to do.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. So now we are back. So now, just to bring everyone up to speed, DDP and Canyon are the WWF tag titles. Regal said he's going to have them put up those tag titles for the against Undertaker and Kane at SummerSlam in a cage match. But now Kane and Undertaker are WCW Tag Champions, so we'll see what plays out as we head into SummerSlam here. Like which titles are going to be on the line. Meanwhile, you have Hugh Morris and Stephanie McMahon backstage. Hugh Morris is going to fight Jericho for Stephanie. And then now all of a sudden we have a matchup. It's Hugh Morris versus Chris Jericho. Hugh goes to work on Jericho, flying forearm by Jericho. Bulldog to Morris. Hugh gets the knees up on the lion salt. Belly to belly slam by Hugh. Jericho puts the walls of Jericho on Hugh Morris for the win. I went a half a star here. This match was really trying to serve its purpose of that, I'm going to be the one to shut Jericho up, and Jericho just counters off another one of Stephanie McMahon's plans. But, Jericho's not out of the woods yet as Rhyno attacks Jericho, a suplex on the stage, and then Rhyno gores Chris Jericho through the Ovaltron. So, if I may say, I feel like Vince McMahon was like, we need a new set, pal. What do you got for me? I know. Hey, Rhyno, want to gore Jericho?
I went about half a star for the match, but like you say, the match is just an excuse to get Jericho out of here. It's all about that gore through the through the set, and that's one of the most iconic images of the early years of SmackDown. And it was that good that TNA brought it back a few years later when Rhyno gored Joe and Monty through the up through the entrance at the Impact Zone. But yeah, I love Rhyno in this time period, and it was really good. Like I say, it's one of those that gets replayed. It got replayed time and time again.
Yeah, it was just like, let's take another look at what happened to Jericho. He gets scored through the through the stage, basically, through the set, and SmackDown is going to have a new set. So again, Vince McMahon needed a new set. He said, Rhyno, take care of business for me. So Stephanie congratulates Rhyno backstage. Rhyno wants to finish off Jericho at SummerSlam. Stephanie says that's a great idea. Now we have Perry Saturn again. He's backstage. He calls the cops and files a missing persons report. And, he shows the cops the picture, and they go, What's his person's name? Moppy McMopperson.
Moppy McMopperson. He's Booty McBoatface.
Yeah, and they're like, okay, we'll get right on it. We'll let you know if anything comes up. They're like, really? You call a missing persons report on a mop? Surprised Perry Saturn wasn't taking it for questioning and for testing of his head.
Well, I think at this stage, people know that Perry's not exactly mentally stable at this point, so we'll just leave him be.
Nope. And now we are now at our main event here. It is Stone Cold and the Dudley Boys versus Kurt Angle and the Hardy Boys in a 6-man elimination matchup. So you have to eliminate all 3 guys here. Bubba. So now it's like Bubba and Stone Cold. They start off on Matt Hardy. All 3 men beat up Matt. Sleeper by Matt. Spinning neck breaker and poetry in motion to Devon. Clothesline to Jeff by Bubba. Whisper in the wind to Bubba. Crossbody to Devon by Kurt. Ankle lock to Devon, and he taps. So Devon's eliminated. Bubba goes to work on Kurt, tag to Matt. Clothesline off the top by Matt. Bubba bomb to Matt, and he is eliminated. Bubba misses I call it the ass dive, because he he misses that dive with his ass basically, and he's like, ow, my ass. So I call it the ass dive, Ben. Swanton bomb to Bubba. Swanton bomb to Bubba. Austin pulls the ref out. Stunner to Jeff, and he is eliminated. Clothesline to Kurt. Austin chokes Angle. Suplex to Kurt. Luthez Prez to Angle, Spinebuster by Austin, Boston Crab to Angle, reverse to an ankle lock, Bubba interrupts Angle, Bubba interrupts, Angle tosses Bubba into Austin, German suplex to Bubba, flying forearm to Bubba, belly suplex to Austin, Angle slam to Bubba, and he is eliminated. So now it's finishing off with Kurt and Austin. Ankle lock to Austin. Devon hits Angle with a chair, a stunner to Angle, and a 3D by the Dudleys to Angle. So the match is basically thrown out. And I went 2.5 on it. Like, it's a no contest, but the Dudleys and Austin are taking care of Kurt Angle. EMTs come out to tend to Kurt. Austin says Kurt isn't a hero, nor is he tough. Stone Cold mocks Angle by saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Brawl between the Dudleys and the Hardys. Austin then tips over the stretcher. Angle gets Austin in the ankle lock, but is held back by the Hardy Boys as SmackDown goes off the air. What do you think of all this, Ben?
See, I love this. I'm going to be honest. I went 3.25 on it and give this an ending, and I'd have gone 3.5 easy on it. These 6 guys their chemistry's just there. It just works. They perhaps could have done a bit more with the Hardys and Dudleys to make them feel more than spare parts at times. I get that, but Austin in 2001, I can't say enough good things about him. It's the psychotic heel is just tremendous. But yeah, these guys have just got an innate chemistry where it just works. And like I said earlier, these guys could do this match in their sleep if they wanted to. But there was, big moves everywhere, suplexes being thrown. Seeing Jeff Hardy when he, was young, motivated, and gave a shit was actually really good to see. I really enjoyed all this. Like I say, 3.25, and I could have gone higher on it with a proper end.
Yeah, so like I said, as we're hitting into SummerSlam here, and Angle is trying to counter Stone Cold anyway. He gets him in that ankle lock, but of course nothing's gonna happen. But it looks like Stone Cold is really taking out his aggression on Angle. So, all this, paranoia is really coming into play here as well. So, we'll see what transpires as we get into the final week before SummerSlam here as well. Well, that's going to do it from us for our shows of Raw and SmackDown this week. But before we go, Ben, do you have anything that you want to direct the listeners to?
It's late Gruney knockout, but I'm only joking. Chicken salad back up and running. We are back up and running on chicken salad for the new year. It's me and Callum now, and we did No Way Out. We did Sold Out of 97 for our January episodes. That's out as we speak. And then by the time this particular episode of Nation Invasion comes out, we will be on to No Way Out of 98. And you can also catch me every other episode, on Highway to the Impact Zone with Logan. And I just want to say, Gruney, thank you for having me. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yes, it's been a pleasure, and I'm so glad that we could do this show together. As for me, besides Nation Invasion, you can find me on the Place to Be Nation Wrestling Network as I host Extreme Resurrection with Steve Riddle. We are heading into SummerSlam 2007, actually. So all my shows right now are leading into SummerSlam, where it will be CM Punk versus John Morrison, not Nitro, John Morrison for the ECW championship. So we'll see what happens there as well. Well, I want to thank Ben Locke for being my guest here on Nation Invasion. That's going to do it for us here on the show. So be prepared as we, the nation, bring the invasion.